I have lost confidence in myself, my ancestors, and my guides. Pastors have been brought to pray for me, to expel demons from within me. I have been admitted to psychiatric institutions, and still the calling continues. I have intense dreams. I see things, and I have a constant urge to go to water. When I am at the ocean, I always want to go in deeper, and on some occasions, I have almost drowned as a result of this. My family is poor. They treat me as a black sheep, even though I believe that I am the one who can take them out of their state of poverty. I went to initiate my spirit of Umdao in Pumalanga. And since that experience, I can honestly say that things have gone from bad to worse. I've never felt connected. I never felt that the initiation was successful. I remained spiritually thirsty. I've done my best to quench this thirst, but seemingly I've done it wrong before, and I do not want to do it wrong again. When I travel and I cross over bridges, I hear screams in my ears. With these screams are other strange sounds that I don't know how to describe, and I often have to phahla, to pray the traditional way, in order to ease these sounds in my ears. I had a dream about starting a project in the Eastern Cape, and in the dreams, I would keep seeing the Lotto Star logo. I started the project, I employed people, and things seemed to be going well for the first 3 months. Now I am behind on the salary payroll. People are unhappy, and my own family is telling me that I need to leave this ancestral business alone and give my life to Jesus. I personally have a strong urge to attend the ZCC church. Another reason why my family discourages me from pursuing my traditional and ancestral path is that I once had a dream about an old man. When I described this old man to them, they told me that this was my maternal great grandfather. They believe that Wayetwele, he was in a ritual pact, and therefore they think that he wants to pass on to me whatever he agreed to take on. My feet long to step on ground that is guided by songs. My body longs for a lot. Please advise me on how I can get back on the path to my ancestry. Let's begin by assessing the nature of your ancestral calling first. You say that you have vivid dreams, you're seeing things, and you have an urge to go deeper into the ocean when you are there. In the West, they are going to diagnose you with a personality disorder, and at worst, they are going to diagnose you with some form of schizoaffective disorder. That is not what your diagnosis is. Hence, when you are admitted to the psychiatric institutions, they will not find anything. They're never going to find anything, because there is nothing wrong with you. There is nothing wrong with your psyche. There is nothing wrong with your brain. You have an ancestral calling. It is as a result of your ancestry, your DNA, your genes, as well as who you are as a person, because it's not just any and everybody who has an ancestral calling. It is a very specific type of person. You then say that you would hear screams when you passed bridges, and bridges almost always either go over a water body or they go over some form of mountain pass or a gorge. You also went to initiate Umdao in Pumalanga. So your steps were not incorrect, because your symptoms give very much that you have an exotic or a foreign ancestor in your bloodline. So I do understand why you went to Mpumalanga. However, I do not believe that the specific ancestors who are calling you are from there. you need to go to the specific place that they come from. So the person that you consulted with was meant to determine accurately the geographic location from where your exotic or foreign ancestor comes from. The screams that you are hearing most likely are the screams of the people that either your ancestors tormented during the times of Izimpi, during our times of war, or conversely, they are the screams of your own ancestors who were slaughtered or otherwise tormented by other tribes. You being able to hear them means that you are someone who is able to help them. They need to be fetched from where they are. They need to be taken to a more peaceful place. In the Eastern Cape and in KwaZulu, remember that our provinces are only separated by borders, but that part of South Africa, for the most part, we used to have a very tragic practice of feeding people to crocodiles when we conquered them or when they did anything to displease us as whatever tribe or nation that resided in the area at the time. Those people are still in pain. Their spiritual signature, their spiritual echo is showing that they need to be helped. They need to be released from being earthbound. And you are someone who is able to do that. When it comes to initiating the Tao ancestral spirits, it's very important to understand what I mentioned previously, which is, are we speaking about a foreign or exotic ancestor who can come from any nation, tribe, or clan? Are we speaking about an ancestor who is from the Tao branch of our Southern African heritage? That means they could be Karanga, they could be Chopi, they could be Tsonga, they could be any of the tribes which fall under the so-called Ndau nation. Or are we speaking about Umundawe, an ancestor or a spirit of a place? In your case, I strongly suspect it's the latter. When your great-grandfather was doing what he was doing on his spiritual journey, he encountered a being or an ancestral spirit who taught him very important things and also gave him the keys to a specific way of life. And as a result, that agreement does now run in your genes or in your DNA. I strongly suggest that you do more research on that great grandfather of yours, your family being afraid of you discovering more about him is already a clue. I highly doubt that Wayetwele. I feel that he was granted knowledge that most people did not have. He had the keys to unlocking earthly wealth and earthly knowledge that most human beings do not possess. Hence, you now have dreams where you're seeing the lotto star. It's not necessarily that you're going to win the lottery. You're being given a clue as to the fact that somewhere within your ancestral knowledge, you have the ability to unlock earthly wealth and earthly riches in a way that most people do not know how to do. Up until you go and you have an encounter with either your great grandfather or the spirit that he had an encounter with, everything in your life is going to not go well. You're going to be stagnant more than you are progressing in life. You are going to be unfortunate when you are actually meant to be a very fortunate person. As you are seeing with the project that you started, that project was meant to happen. However, you do not have the spiritual capacity to see it through. Also, you have a very wounded shadow because of how your family has treated you in the past. You don't have confidence within yourself. You don't have trust within yourself enough to be able to achieve the level of success that you would like to achieve. You have an urge to go to the ZCC church. Excellent. I highly recommend that you do go there. Giving your life to Jesus is not going to make anything go away. If anything, it's going to make your life worse. We need to understand and accept as Black African people that Christianity is an adopted faith and belief. It is not what we believed in prior to being colonized as a continent. This religion and belief is a religion and belief that belongs to Jewish people and people who now term themselves Christians who were part of the Roman Empire. It is a European way of belief. Most of the time, when Africans have adopted this belief, it is because they want so-called deliverance from our own traditional spiritual beliefs. They do not understand the nature of their spiritual experiences. They are afraid of their spiritual experiences. They do not want to understand what is happening. So any strange dream or experience that they have, it is automatically labeled as evil or demonic, the same as we have seen with your family. Even if you do choose to become a Christian or you choose to change your faith or belief, your children, their children, and their children's children are still going to experience the exact same thing that you did up until someone along that lineage of ancestry decides to do the right thing and acknowledge where you come from in order to understand where you are, in order to understand where you're going. Up until that happens, my love, you're going to remain stagnant, you're going to remain confused, and you're going to remain thirsty. Go to where your great-grandfather is buried or where he used to work. Research him. Understand the type of work that he used to do. I think you'll be very shocked and surprised to find out that it's not what your family has been telling you all of these years. The second step that you need to take, you need to apologize to your ancestors, not because you did anything wrong, but because as a human being, you did not have the full understanding, the full knowledge to know what to do. And so you took a few missteps. So humble yourself, apologize to them, and ask them, ask them to light your path again and to lead you to where you need to be. As I mentioned before, you need to trust yourself. I strongly suspect you never needed to go and initiate anywhere with anybody. You were supposed to be initiated by your ancestors and the beings, Idalwa, that initiated them. Hence, you have this strong urge to run into the ocean. Your knowledge does not come from people. Your knowledge comes from water, the oldest data storage center in the world that has been around for millions of years, that has crossed over mountains, valleys, glaciers. It has witnessed wars. It has witnessed the world starting, the world ending. It has witnessed the world renewing. It has witnessed us as human beings evolving from where we were to where we are now. It can teach you so much more than a human being can. I hope that this helps you. Okay.